On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. The DNC is, well, it's crazy. One, they've capitalized on so many lies. Two, and at first this bugged me because I actually thought we were being silly on our side of the fence, and I was kind of miffed. And then I found a couple more images that are like, no, they don't have the crowds that they're bragging about. Plus, the problems they have are definitely in the streets, right? We've got some stuff going on there. I will say it's not gotten as bad as some of us thought it might, but it's definitely heading in that direction, unquestionably. Got a whole lot of things to talk about there. Some strange news with Russia. Kind of strange, not really, but sort of. And then major strange news. I would say this is a warning to all deep state people, not a warning from me. I would say this is a warning from the powers that are. Not the powers that were, but the powers that now are, which is us. You guys ought to be careful, I think, because we're finding out some very interesting information about this yacht that went down. Super yacht, I might add. It was like, over 150 feet long or so. Insanely big boat. I believe, and you guys can fact check me on this, I think it's anything over 35 or 40 feet is considered a yacht. This thing is over 150 feet. That is a huge boat. That is a giant yacht. That's why they call it a super yacht. So, one of the things we found out, missing tech tycoon Mike Lynch's co-defendant in an $11 billion fraud trial, right? He wasn't on the yacht. No. He was like walking across the street and got struck by a car and killed. Just yesterday, like a couple days ago, just days before the billionaire's yacht tragedy occurred. That's very strange. Now, again, is this possibly something that happened and they maybe tried to suicide themselves, if you will, so they can get away with stuff? It's possible, but when I think about what happened to that submarine, I'm almost thinking that maybe something happened to these guys. Now, it is interesting as we found out there was a giant water spout. So that's weird. And this supposedly hit them or was in the general vicinity and caused calamity, caused the ship to sink quickly, which is also strange. That doesn't normally happen. It can. I mean, obviously, you go out into severe weather. I mean, I've been watching that stupid, dangerous, with the fishing one, the Alaskan crab fishing, whatever, lobster crab. Dude, crazy what they go through and the types of storms and how dangerous it is. And so, anything can happen. But the 6 people missing after Mike Lynch's super yacht sank on the coast of Sicily include the chairman of Morgan Stanley International. Interesting. Jonathan Bloomer and his wife, according to Italian sources. A luxury sailboat Bayesian was docked off the coast of Porticello when a waterspout struck the area just before 5 a.m. on Monday, wrecking the yacht and causing it to rapidly sink. While one person tragically died and 15 survived the disaster, 6 people, including British tech billionaire Lynch and his 18-year-old daughter, remain missing. It's very significant people that are currently missing. That's very strange. A top New York lawyer who has been missing ever since the Bayesian yacht sunk off the coast of Italy Monday morning had eerily written about his family living happily ever after on his final social media post before vanishing with his wife in the shipwreck. Posted this. I don't know if he was actually, I think this was after some weird case he was involved with. There's some case, winning his fraud trial. He thanked his legal team who helped their successes in his penultimate LinkedIn post before the tragedy. And then, he does this weird final post and essentially says, live happily ever after. I think assuming after the fraud trial, he's now going to be able to get back to a normal life. But it is an odd post right before his potential demise. Again, strange story. Don't really know what's going on. Could it be just a bunch of people suicided themselves? Could be, but we have a water spout in the area, so that's a trip. Like, how'd that get created? Or is this just God at work, right? Which is possible, too. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I know what happened. We know the facts. Figuring out what happened, a little trickier. This dude's pretty good. I'm not going to... hell, I'll play it. I'll give him the points. His words are fantastic, and he's like common sense questions for reasonable people. And like I said, I like this dude. I'm actually just, it's like from a creator standpoint, I love how he works. I love he just like sits there and eats. and is able to spout this stuff off the way he does, it's actually just a really bitchin' format. I'm very impressed with what he's chosen to do. So kudos to the man. All said, yeah, here we go. We've got some good stuff.
Why is it at gender reveal parties, people only choose one of two colors? So I can't assume your gender, but you can assume I'm racist? If genitals don't define gender, how does removing them affirm it? It's scary when the weatherman is the closest one to telling the truth on the news now. If the vaccine doesn't keep you from getting or spreading the virus, what the hell does the booster boost? If women can be paid less for doing the exact same work, why wouldn't every company just hire women? How are we taking the rights of women away if we don't know what a woman is? So the man who accidentally left 300,000 guns for the Taliban is going to lecture us on gun control? Want to stop drunk drivers from killing sober drivers? Ban sober drivers. That's how gun control works.
First off, this dude eats entirely too much. You should try eating at home once in a while, though I think there was a couple of those where you were eating at home. But needless to say, beautiful format, incredible points. He's, dude, sharp as a tack. I love this guy. And his delivery's good. Very good stuff. All right, some border stuff going on. We'll talk about this first. GOP lawmakers probe the DOJ for cutting loose illegal Jordanian migrants who tried to breach Quantico. You know, the guys that tried to break into Quantico. They were here illegally, tried to break into a military institution, were apprehended, and immediately let out on their own recognizance and told, hey, you're going to have a court date coming up here in a year or whatever. Make sure you show up, which we don't have actual percentages, but the over a majority of people are not showing up to these trials from what we understand. I haven't seen some legitimate numbers, but it's quite a few people are not showing up to the trials. So these guys just release these Jordanians who are from a part of the world where we should be concerned. Not saying Jordan's a bad place, but that part of the world and coming from Jordan, it could be concerning. And yet, these guys tried to break into a base and we just put them right back on the streets. They're here illegally, did illegal stuff while they were here, were arrested for it, and were released back into our society again. This is what the deep state wants to do to this country. Period. Okay, we can call Democrats whatever you want. There's Republicans that are supporting this too. Got a few people that used to be the spokeshole for Trump is actually there talking about how horrible Trump is. The deep state wants what is happening, and they want to make it worse. Big time. They've so far not been able to do what they wanted to do. They've been stopped all over the place. They had to stop the flights, which is partially why I think they're claiming that the number of border crossers right now is significantly lowered, because they've been fought and stopped by us in Congress. Attorney General Ken Paxton. For years, I have warned about the risk of illegal aliens voting in American elections. We must, at every level of government, ensure that only citizens cast ballots to determine the direction of the country. I've directed the full weight and force of my office towards the issue, and we will not stop until every available remedy has been exhausted. Know this, if you are illegally registering to vote or assisting someone to vote illegally, you will suffer the full consequences under the law. That's Ken Paxton's words. There's no more accepting this. Yes, we are a nation of immigrants, legal immigrants. And no, not until you become a legal citizen can you vote. I don't give a shit if you live here and you somehow feel like you should have a right. Well, they pay taxes. Not necessarily. Certainly not when they first come into this country illegally. They don't have a job yet. So they're not paying shit, but we're giving them all sorts of goodies, aren't we? No, this is not going to work. And obviously, we've got to stand up for this. This is one of those things that we've got to stand firm on. Kamala Harris's DNC platform pledges to pass the U.S. Citizenship Act. What is it? Well, the most radically amnesty bill ever written. Of course, Obama's behind it. Amnesty for human traffickers and gang members. No welfare restrictions for migrants. Lets deportees return and so much worse. Now, what is funny is Obama wanted to push all this stuff when he was office, but couldn't because he didn't have the support yet. He didn't have enough of the American population on board. Hillary Clinton was supposed to help with that to a degree. She was also supposed to get us into a war that we were going to lose. So she was going to make this something that was going to be doable, but they didn't win. And Donald Trump screwed up a lot of stuff. So here they are, full bore, pedal to the metal, doing everything they can. So, this is the second person that has been talking about how they've got fewer people crossing the border now than Trump's last year in office. I'd love to see how they're finagling these numbers, but it obviously isn't true.
Then I had to take executive action. The result of the executive action I took, border encounters have dropped over 50%. In fact, there are fewer border crossings today than when Donald Trump left office.
So there's going to be a whole section here of things that they've said that are absolutely untrue. I think most of that I'm going to get into in the DNC section, if I remember correctly. Whole slew of stuff that's just not true. And we're going to talk about how it's not true. Normally, I don't even waste my time, but there's so much of it happening that it's actually kind of weird. It's actually weird that their entire platform is built on lies. Much like we're selling out the stadiums, like my thumbnail, but empty seats and empty promises. That's all they give you. That's all the Dems and the deep state give. The Republicans used to do the same thing. Empty promises. They'd say they'd do all this stuff, and then when it came to a fight with the Democrats, they're like, all right, well, we don't want to come across as jerks, so we'll let them do what they want to do. Both sides were horribly effed. I'm glad we're finally taking back control. This is also interesting information. RNC is asking the Supreme Court to block 41,000 Arizona voters over alleged lack of citizenship proof. Arizona passed a law back in 2022 that said you had to have a driver's license or proof of citizenship to actually vote in Arizona. Well, there's 41,000 people currently registered that have not provided any sort of proof of citizenship. So we are assuming they're not actually citizens. They are welcome to prove it. But right now, we're trying to get them removed from the rolls, trying to get the Supreme Court involved. Of course, the Biden administration, a.k.a. Merrick Garland, a.k.a. slave owner. Biden DOJ asked SCOTUS to keep Arizona from requiring proof of citizenship for the 2024 election. So the DOJ is actually trying to ask the SCOTUS, no, don't let Arizona use their laws that they've already put in place. Anybody should be able to vote. And here's the argument again that I say to everybody out there that says all votes should matter. No, that's not true. And here's why. Because if you aren't here legally, you don't have a right to vote. If you don't have a right to vote and you actually do pass or give a vote, and that vote is counted, what that vote does is it goes against an actual legal vote. So you're undoing legal votes with your illegal vote. So not only is it completely opposite of what they claim, it's actually doing damage to democracy, which they claim to be such stalwart defenders of. They're not. They just care about winning. They just care about power, about holding on to power, about trying to steer and queer our entire society. That's what they're about. Sometimes it just writes itself, folks. I don't even know how this shit comes out of my mouth. Senator Blackburn rolls out resolution condemning border czar Kamala Harris. Senator Marsha Blackburn introduced legislation in the Senate Tuesday to condemn Vice President Kamala Harris for failing in her role as the so-called border czar, about a month after the Republican House did the same, with 6 Democrats joining in the condemnation. Blackburn, Republican, Tennessee, contended that Harris was a failure in handling the crisis at the southern border. Her resolution will function as a Senate companion to the resolution that House Republican Conference Chair Elise Stefanik introduced last month. The House ultimately passed it on July 25th. Since her very first day in office, Vice President Harris, President Biden's designated border czar, has refused to take the national security and safety crisis at our southern border seriously, Blackburn told the Post. The Biden-Harris administration has presided over more than 10 million illegal border crossings and has released nearly 100 individuals on the terrorist watch list into our country. Vice President Harris can run, But she cannot hide from her disastrous record that has killed countless innocent Americans. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep making noise, that's for sure. And again, this is just an interesting time in the big picture. Here we had Pete Buttigieg said you want to talk about inflation. We brought inflation down in this country. This is what he claims. That's not true. Inflation was literally 1.4% when they came into office. When Kamala and President Biden came into office, inflation was 1.4%. Now, Donald Trump says no inflation because regular healthy inflation says the Fed should be 2%, which is still ridiculous, which means you're constantly inflating money forever. It's constantly losing value at 2% per month, essentially. But it was lower than that. It was 1.4%. So when Trump's speaking, there was no inflation or negative inflation and he's played around with those words. Technically, he's telling the truth, but I don't like it because there was inflation. 1.4% is not no inflation. It is 1.4% inflation, but it's under that 2%. So it's important to understand that. Here's Kamala Harris saying they're the ones that fixed everything. No, their insane COVID policies wrecked everything. They shut down the economy heavily and caused enormous amounts of damage, not just to children, and the fact that they are so behind, the fact that schooling is all messed up, right? You've got 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds that are just socially awkward. Their vocabularies are stunted because they didn't get those key times in front of a teacher with a mask off. Because children learn to read and speak, I should say, by seeing the mouth move and hearing the words come out. It's a connection of those things. So when you cover the mask or the mouth, kids didn't learn how to speak. Significant number of words reduced for average children. I think 6 months, there's a certain number of words you should have. That number was reduced at 1 year. That number was reduced. All those numbers were reduced because of all the people wearing masks. So here again is talking about a bunch of lies. Just in right now, U.S. bankruptcy filings are the highest since 2017. 2017 is right after the Obama years, right when Trump came in. And he made a huge difference in the economy. The numbers started coming way down. They got way better. And then we started heading back up to the disastrous times that we're in today. More bankruptcies are being filed today than since 2017. This graph is really hard to read, but I don't even know where 2017 actually start. Oh, there's the years are down here. So it's 2015, 2016, 2017 is right here, I guess. Looks like it was higher before that. But this is the highest it has been since that year. So there you go. So this is 2017, way the hell over here. And here we are. So Trump years and then all the Biden years just ramping up, growing and growing, those bankruptcies. Feds face up to 1 million U.S. jobs vanishing. Now, we frequently talk about how one of the fun things that the Fed loves to do is they love to reduce their numbers down. They'll put out this great report. Oh, employment's up such and such. Oh, well, this is good. This is good. This is great. This is fantastic. And then like, I don't know, a week or two later, they revise quietly all these numbers down. Well, job growth was one of the things that they were kind of trying to say were better than they were. And as it was, what they were saying was way worse than what they were supposed to be. So jobs took a hit. That was a big part of why we had that hard Monday where the stocks took a major crapper. And that was because of the jobs numbers was part of that. Huge part of it, for that matter. Well, this is worse. I don't know if the stocks took a shit today. They might. But they just brought those downward. They revised the jobs numbers down by 1 million jobs. They were talking about, we're 17,000 tech sector jobs. And there was, 100,000 jobs in the whatever, like the hospitals. 1 million jobs downward revised. Lost. Just gone. The jobs are gone. Not an issue of unemployed, not employed. It's an issue of fewer jobs, not jobs created. 1 million jobs lost. That is backwards movement in the economy. That is stagflation. That is falling GDP. That is economic downturn. They haven't admitted it yet because they can't, because they're going into an election. You guys should be smart. Get the hell out. I can't believe that's been off all this time. Whatever. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Their system's not getting better. All the numbers suggested. The only thing that's missing is them admitting it. If you are still in an IRA or a 401k, stocks and cash, not your friend. Inflation is eating the hell out of that every single day. And inflation's still around 3% right now, so it's not fixed yet, even though Pete Buttigieg says it is. We know not to trust any of them, frankly. They lie. We got more examples of lies coming. Get out of their system. DRSlikesgold.com. You can get out tax-free, penalty-free, and actually quickly. That's one of the best parts about Goldco, on top of their stellar customer service. Outstanding customer service. 5 stars. Awesome. They've got all sorts of great ratings, too, for that matter. But they've got, like, the ability to get this done. They've got connections to multiple sources, and it's literally physical gold. So they got multiple sources of precious metals. They're going to hook you up with the best deal they can at the best time with what you're coming and bringing to the table. They're going to get that put into a trust because they can't give it straight to you. Otherwise, it's paying it off to you, and they can't do that. So that's why it's tax-free, penalty-free. It's literally put into a trust. It's moved sideways, if you will. And you're going to get as much gold and silver as you possibly can at this moment in time. Prices of gold and silver are going up. It's another reason why waiting any longer is not a good idea. What should have happened, you should have been out back in March. You should have been out in March. March, the prices of silver and gold were the lowest they've been in a long time. If you would have gotten in back then, you'd be stoked right now. Stoked right now. Very happy. That's a California term for happy. You'd be very happy. You'd be stoked, bruh. You'd be majorly happy because so much upward movement. 2,500 for gold. Silver's up over 28. Silver was under 20. It was over 22 and change. And gold was at 17 and change. And it's literally at 25 instead of 17. So it's gone up 800. That's a lot. That's almost 50% from where it was earlier this year. Folks, the economy is not in a good place. If you're staying in the stock market and you are not like handling it yourself, or you've got someone specifically that's managing your pile of cash, you're seriously screwed. Because they're investing in DEI, they're investing in companies that are deep state, and these are the people that are going to have the problems coming up. And they've been pumping a lot of money to the stock market, so the bubble is ridiculous. Ridiculous. The longer you stay in it, the more risk you're putting yourself at. Get out. Get out easy. Get out fast. Get out with all of your questions answered. Go to drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. If you're in Fidelity, if you're in BlackRock, Vanguard, name it, whatever, doesn't matter. You know, that day we were having the stock crash on that Monday, all those trading apps were down for all of them. All those companies, Bloomberg too, down. Down. Stock market, too much stuff was going on, so they pull the app. So again, if this is one of those things where you're like, I'll get out the day it happens. No, you won't. You won't. You won't get out the day it happens. In fact, you won't get out the day after it happens, probably. You'll get out maybe 3-4 days after it happens, and you'll be screwed. How much of your wealth will you have lost at that point? I wouldn't wait. Take the money and run, as they say. Move it sideways. Maybe in a few months, you decide you want to cash out. Bring all the precious metals home. But for now, tax-free, penalty-free, you can keep pumping money into it, too, for that matter. It's a retirement, for that matter. It's a precious metals IRA. It's awesome. drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Also, I'd recommend buying some precious metals. Gold Cove's got all sorts of precious metals, but certainly gold and silver, platinum, all those standards. But they've got a lot of weird stuff, too, like palladium and all this other weird stuff. Stuff I didn't even heard of. It's like barely even on the periodic table. drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. And that is their plan, folks. Fence has been torn down by protesters. We're just going to share some of the destruction of the fences, just of their people. This is all progressive left people, folks. None of these people are right-leaning people. These are all left-leaning progressive people. They just happen to hate Israel, which is, well, Jews happen to be Democrats, too. Such an interesting time in history. Very fun time to be alive.
Palestine! End the occupation now! Victory to Palestine! End the occupation now!
Exactly. I think we got some more, don't worry. Here's some more of this nonsense. Wow, redheads even. Look at that. So yeah, busting holes in fences. We got some more. It's point. Got to show all the happiness that's going on over here.
Sergeant Harris, you can't hide! Stop entering the Senator side! Sergeant Harris, you can't hide! Sergeant Harris, you can't hide!
Digging, you hear him saying back up, because you can see the cop, the popo, coming right around the corner here. The popo! Yeah, and here's a little bit more. Last of it, I think.
Why are you hurting your own people? Keep moving into the park. Now you fucking leave here.
Oh yeah, this thing where they're throwing signs at the cops. You know, why do they got the this colored helmets? Those are like the UN helmets almost. I know it's not UN people. They actually got shields on there, but why are they using that color? Anyone that knows, put it in the comments or something. It'd be interesting. By the way, hit the thumbs up if you could, please. It makes a huge difference, by the way, in how many views I get. It's really funny how that works out. So throw the thumbs up if you can. Also, if you're not subscribed, get out any one of the platforms that I'm on. Look for On the Fringe. It's Rumble, BitChute, Brighteon, Odyssey, Frank Speech, and I think that's it. I feel like that's it. All said, yeah, get on any one of those, search On the Fringe. You should find me. On space, the space, Fringe should work, or all one word. You should still find me. Search it just online. You should find one of my channels. On the Fringe should still pull up one of my channels. Oh yeah, I'm on YouTube. I don't ever talk about that because I don't think it's gonna keep being there. That's why I have no faith in it. But I'm working with you. They're good. Their filtering system before I even, publish is like pretty good. They let me fix what they don't like typically, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm also not monetizing the channel, which they hate, but it also, I think, makes it harder for them to really hate my stuff as much. So we'll see. Another fun little factoid that's popped into reality. Democrat National Convention was hit by bomb threats. Cops investigate anti-Semitic statements and warnings. Pipe bombs were placed at different hotels. Yeah, several hotels near the convention reported getting statements that sparked searches from the police. The threat said pipe bombs had been placed in the Hotel Chicago West Loop and the Hyatt House Chicago. Officers also searched the Nobu Hotel. The threats mentioned on the 4-day DNC happened at the United Center and made anti-Semitic statements. Now, again, there's still the Kim Clement prophecy that something could potentially happen. He called out Chicago specifically, and I think one of the hotels that's being used for the convention, like the actual hotel, like that place. So there's a lot of thoughts that maybe something's going to happen. Don't know. We're on day 2. So far, haven't seen anything, but why would you want to waste that on the first day, right? Unless you're just totally trying to disrupt the DNC, and that would almost be blamed on us for sure. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, a lot going on with the DNC. Now, again, here, initially, I was pissed. I'm like, damn it. Like, we're doing the same thing the left does. Here we are showing a stadium before the show actually starts. Now, I am going to say, all the images I share, there are some times where there's people on stage. Never once is it Kamala or Biden or any of them. So, still could have been early in the day. I know that's how these things sometimes work. A lot of times, if you're sort of a less important speaker, your time slot's going to be earlier in the day, and not everybody's going to be sitting in their seats because a lot of them don't give a shit about you at all. So that's common. I'm just trying to be as honest about this as I possibly can because they use this type of stuff against us. I was at Mike Lindell's event, and I saw the dude that was walking around taking the pictures of how nobody was there. And it was literally 2 hours before it started. I was there super early. I got there right when they opened the metal detectors. And that's when the dude was taking pictures. And we got him on tape, which was funny. So Mike Lindell actually put his image up, but the dude had already bailed. But it's kind of funny how these things work. So we've got to be careful. But all said, I want to, I think they actually do kind of seem to have some empty seats. I'd love to see it when Kamala was on stage, and part of me doesn't because I don't care that much, frankly.
Party looking and feeling dramatically different from just a few weeks ago. Vice President Kamala Harris ascending to the top of the ticket after President Biden bowed out in a monumental shakeup to an already unprecedented race. We're taking a lot.
Now, what is weird is they do show a dude on stage, but you hear music in the background. So, what's that? That's weird. It doesn't fit. If there's a dude on stage, you should be hearing the dude talk, right? Shouldn't you? Isn't that what should be coming on the overhead mics or those overhead speakers? Well, for some reason, not quite how this particular scenario played out. Who knows? I think I've got a couple others here. Here's another example. Video was sent to Laura Loomer. I feel like this one, when they actually get to the stage, if I remember correctly, I tried to pause it, and it doesn't look like there's anybody on the stage. But what you can see is two black figures that seem to be walking off. So I'm like, all right, maybe they were at the podium. Again, I'm trying to be as fair as I possibly can. Possibly can. They'd never do this for us. I'm doing this for them. Why? Because I actually care about people. Not really, but I care about humanity. That big time. Individuals can be quite the pain in the backside. Now this is the one that kind of got me at the end, like finally won me over. I'm like, oh, okay, hang on. Now somebody's like reading my mind and they put a post out that found me perfectly. So here we actually see, yes, people on stage. Yes, still not Kamala, but two colored people. I don't think they're covered in chocolate, but they're colored like it. And here we go. Still nobody. Still empty seats. All the F over the place, there's empty seats. Of course, in the upper rows, which is odd, there's some people sitting up there, so they expected people to show up at some point. Maybe the first day is a bad turnout. Don't know. Again, trying to give a little, but crap, there's a lot of empty seats. Here's Bill Clinton with our good old friend Alex Soros, who just married Huma Abedin, right? I think the chick that was married to Wiener. That's a whole weird thing, too. Obviously, spirit cooking and stuff. You got to wonder what sort of crazy after parties were happening with these nut jobs or will happen. And they'll probably have some weird closing show, too, that's very satanic. This is just too good not to share, and I love it. So it was a filter, just so I upfront it. I don't want anyone to be like, I'm showing this like this is really what AOC looks like. No, this is not what AOC looks like. This is a freaking hilarious-ass filter that somebody put on her stupid-ass face. Actually, she's a very pretty girl, but she's probably a horrible soul. Anyway, whatever. Here she is. It almost makes me think of that scene in American Werewolf in London where the dude starts transitioning into the wolf, right? Like, it's kind of like how his face started to look at one point. Oh my God, she's got dog face. Horrible. I don't know, that was my best impression of a dog face metamorphosis happening. Low budget, come on, people. That's all I got. But yes, here we've got, this is where the news legitimately talks about how she needs to get in front of the press. They do it in a way that's still flattering to her to a degree, and then they still try to have some pot shots at Trump, I think, at one point in here. But ultimately, they're calling out the true problem, which is this chick needs to do a real interview, and I think we all know she can't. But again, the pressure's being put on her. I don't think she cares. I don't think the deep state cares, frankly. But there are a few sources of news that seem to talk about it. I'm shocked that NBC is actually sort of saying this. CNN, I would expect this from, maybe. Fox, for sure. NBC? No, I was kind of surprised, actually.
No news conferences for Harris, no sit-down interviews. The questions, the coverage hasn't been tough enough. Tom?
Yeah. She's doing interviews with content creators today instead
right.
of,
So let's call it the Harris honeymoon, right? When does the Harris honeymoon end? Because at some point she's going to have to sit down. She's going to have to do a serious interview. She's going to have to go unscripted, maybe even a full news conference, but it has to happen.
Oh, absolutely has to happen. And, we're starting to see her talk to reporters. Like yesterday, she spoke to some reporters in Pittsburgh, and they asked her, how are you going to pay for your economic plan, right? And she didn't really make a lot of sense. She just kept saying over and over again, it would be a return on investment. It would be a return on investment. Yeah. She said it 4 times over a, 30, 60 second, and it just wasn't very strong. You could tell she's a little rusty when she's not on her teleprompter, and she hasn't always done well in the past when in a one-on-one, when you saw what happened with your colleague Lester Holt. And so I think that this is actually a disservice to her. They're really building this up to be a very momentous moment when she finally sits down with a network anchor, and she could make one wrong move, and that's the entire news cycle.
Talk to me about it.
This drives me nuts how many political strategists are their own worst enemy. They always want to limit. Look, I think this is what, if Biden is angry that he does not, this isn't his convention, you should blame everybody around him. You could have set the country up over the last 3 years to get used to Grandpa Joe if they let Grandpa Joe out there all the time. And look, over time, people
the
got
debate
used.
was a shocker for people,
right?
You know?
Because they hadn't seen any version of it. But maybe if they had seen it, there would have been more tolerance for it. And you do exactly what Tara said. They are making it so that the first interview she does
There'll be so much pressure.
becomes a huge pressure. I'm not as convinced they're going to do the big sit down with
Chuck,
a traditional network. I think you'll see them with more what I would call allied media.
Right.
And I think that's more likely.
And that's what Joe Biden did, yeah.
And that's what Donald Trump does. He's not going to unfriendly places anymore.
Look,
we come from this. He doesn't anymore.
Obviously, we're all reporters here. We want to ask questions. We want to inform our viewers and our readers. So in this sense, we do have a dog in this fight. But I do want to ask you, could this really happen? I mean, early voting is going to start very soon.
Yeah.
Could early voting start without her having really been scrutinized by the media at all?
Well, it depends on your definition of scrutinizing.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, all we have is her last campaign.
Right.
And you would think this is something that I wouldn't want if I was the Harris campaign.
Right.
But the campaign stuff you don't want out there. Paints her much more liberal.
And do it now, before you're close to November.
Right. So it does, in that sense, that's surprising. But, you know, the way everything gets weaponized on social media, there's a reason why, you know, unfortunately, why you see fewer and fewer elected officials sitting down with truly sort of dispassionate media, I call it.
Yeah.
They won't do it because the fear is not the questions we ask. The fear is the one bad answer they get that gets weaponized and used over and over again. And it's in her head.
Yeah.
She has always had this issue because Fox, early on in this vice presidency, took every wrong moment and just amplified. And it impacted her.
Yeah.
She was constantly, and that's why she actually took a lower profile for a while. So it impacted that White House staff.
So again, the calling out the problem they actually have, she's going to have to be able to at some point get in front of the press. Here's Kathy Hochul bragging about the illegal lawsuit against Trump. Any business owner that's in that state, just understand, Kathy Hochul is basically telling you all, if you don't agree with our general politics, or if we disagree with you entirely, we will arrest you for nonsensical crimes. We will make a mountain out of a molehill and then arrest you for being on a mountain when you didn't have rights. It's redonkulous. Here she is.
It's no wonder he had a fleet of Mar-a-Lago. Sorry about that, Florida. Sorry about that. Trump hasn't spent much time in New York lately, except that is to get convicted of 34 felonies. And that's just fine with us, because New York's motto is Excelsior, ever upward. And Trump takes us ever downward.
And no offense to any actual good New Yorkers that watch my show, but New York's motto is fuck you! Or, hey, fuck you, man! Something along those lines. So I think Kathy Hochul's not far off when she's just saying, yeah, no, we're just giving Trump some love. Here's Hillary Clinton. Oh, man, I had to, thought about this 8 times before I actually picked it, so whatever. We'll see how you guys feel about it. But she said something in here that struck me as stupid.
We can't let up. We can't get driven down crazy conspiracy rabbit holes. We have to fight for the truth. We have to fight for Kamala as she will fight for us. Because you know what? It still takes a village to raise a family, heal a country, and win a campaign.
And it takes a village to create the village idiot, too. Just saying. Yeah, we are at a funny little point in history where, we do have to fight for the truth, don't we? They've tried to silence all of us. They've tried to literally shut down free speech everywhere. They tried to control what you could and couldn't say. YouTube would kick you off. Instagram would kick you off. Facebook would kick you off. Twitter would kick you off. But yet we've fought. And one, Twitter's now ours, or is now free speech. I don't want to say it's ours, but it's free speech. It's the world's now. YouTube, I don't know about, but I know Rumble. I know they're awesome. They've been great. BitChute, fantastic platform. Odyssey's been good, but they're small, so I don't know. They might get a attitude at some point. I hope not. I think they're one of the highest quality videos out there. It's kind of funny. Again, I've said it before. Odyssey's a fun little platform. If you can find people you like on there, it's kind of fun to watch stuff over there. I don't know what it is. There's something funky about Odyssey. I don't know what it is. There's like money involved when you watch stuff. You get paid, and then when you upload videos, it costs you like a penny or what. It's not real money. I don't know. It costs you something. So like I got to watch a couple things to basically pay to upload. I don't know. It's a very weird platform, but it's cool as hell. Cool as hell. I actually do my live on there. There's like 1 or 2 people that join us over there now, more than I get on Twitter typically, which is fun. Needless to say, she's we got to fight for the truth. Was the point I was lamenting. Same Democrats who covered up crooked Joe Biden's cognitive decline lied about it, then forced him off the ticket, and now they're crying as he shuffles in. This is beyond reproach, folks.
My father, your 46th president of the United States, Joe Biden.
Would have been rad if she came out with her diary. That would have been so cool. Or if he just like walked up and smelled her hair, just groped her in some sort of weird, inappropriate way. I'm not saying I want to see that, and I'm not saying that's okay, but I'm just saying if he did that in front of the whole nation, it would be pretty funny. I mean, and wrong and disgusting, but funny as hell. Like, ironically funny, not funny. Oh, yeah, he had to misspeak. He had to remind everybody why he was removed. I almost wonder if they write this into his teleprompter just to make him sound like an idiot, or if he literally just made electrical this word instead. I don't know. Either way.
Women are not without electoral.
I actually liked that part at the end. When he finally got it right, electoral, which is what the word was, electoral, and he finally looked at it and he realized he finally said it right. He was like, yeah, take that, bitches. Like, yeah, I finally got it. Which, by the way, I even did the same thing with gouging. I did the gauging thing too when I was reading the story. I felt bad. I did the same thing Kamala did. I can't like try to separate myself from that. I say stupid shit all the time, so I'm never really going to try to. But is what I recommend. If you blow something, at least just try to fix it. Even if you're in the middle of a presidential speech, if you blow a word, better to blow it and be like, or just say it correctly instead. You look a lot better in the big picture. And rather than leaving some sort of stupid word out there that you're like, I do not think you know what that word means, right? Like, I don't think that word means what you think it means. I believe it's what the Spaniard said correctly. Still funny as hell. Nancy Pelosi defends herself over speculated Biden beef. I did what I had to do. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi declined to confirm whether or not she's spoken with Biden, 81, since he dropped out last month. Pelosi's also 81. Oh, isn't that cute? Contended that she did what was necessary. What's funny is you guys are both 9 numbers. Biden's a 9 number, and Nancy Pelosi, you're a 9 number. And here's the thing. I'm 100% sure neither one of you guys are actually going to live to 90. So this being the final 9 number, which is a number of completion, bye-bye. Was nice seeing you, nice knowing you. Don't know. We'll see. Sometimes you have to take a punch for the children, she told CNN. You have to take a punch for the children. Yeah, for the children, she took a punch. My concern was not about the president. It was about his campaign. His exuberance and excitement, she had a problem with, it seems. She then grew uncomfortable with the line of questioning, blurting out, why are we even talking about it? Oh, I don't know, because people wonder. Again, the party of control of information, the party, it's like, I'm just going to keep saying this until I'm blue in the face, because ultimately there's always new people that come on board. It's like, hi, welcome to the woke. Welcome to being awakened, or awokened, whatever's correct. Welcome. Because they lie. They're going to say whatever they got to say to get into power, to keep powered. It's whatever they have to do or say, they will do or say. They have no intention. They don't give a shit about any of us. They care about themselves only. Only. We are chattel. We are sheep. We're not even sheep, because you get a shepherd when you have sheep. They don't give a shit about us. We're lemmings. We're ants. Cockroaches. Whatever. The Dems are delighted, but a coup is still a coup. They're the ones that got to deal with this, not us. And I think I know there's a lot of people on our side of the fence that are nervous because there's so much energy floating around right now about Kamala. Trust me, it's going to die. I think best I know, let me just put it this. This is not being confirmed to me anywhere, but it's also not being said to us for a reason. The intention, for sure, was for them to at least get through the DNC, okay? Get through this week, get everything confirmed, make it legal, and then let the Kraken be released. That is how this will play out. That's when they're going to have to get into some other scary antics because they need to cover behind something. So that's when we've got potentiality of World War III with nukes now. It shouldn't happen. Putin knows what's up. Thank God he's one of the people that's actually holding the cards. And I think he's going to be like Trump. I wouldn't surprise me at all if they still chat every once in a while. Dems deliver the final insult, by the way, last night by pushing Biden's angry, bitter speech to midnight. Midnight, literally midnight. It was 11:30 p.m. when he started his speech. 11:30 p.m. And this is East Coast Chicago, so is this Central Time? What is Chicago? I don't know if you're Central or East. I don't know. I've never really been there. I've kind of been in the airport once or twice, but that's like, who hasn't, right? Everyone flies through O'Hare at some point in their life. But yes, it was well past his bedtime. His speech was supposedly a little angry. I'm not bothering to poll any of it because he's not president, really. First off, he's not actually in charge. We need to figure out how to deal with that. But second off, it's not about him anymore, right? Here's, this was pretty good, actually. This guy asked Kamala's supporters at the DNC convention why they support Kamala, because they're all like, Kamala all the way, 1,000%, love her. Dude, this is awesome. Watch.
Trump or Kamala, what do you think? Trump or Kamala Harris?
Oh, God, it's Kamala, definitely.
Yes?
1,000%.
Yes?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite thing Kamala's done in the last 4 years?
Honestly?
Yeah.
Actually, don't use this.
Oh, Kamala.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah, Kamala.
Kamala, why?
Well, she's... Honestly, I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not super knowledgeable, so I can't really speak too much on it.
Because Trump sucks ass.
Yeah, pretty much same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trump or Kamala, what do you think? Yeah. Do you know who Tim Walz is?
Who is he?
I'm asking the same question, right?
I've been doing my research lately.
Yeah.
So I ain't 100% yet, so I can't answer that yet.
Yeah. Trump or Kamala?
Kamala's she's the one.
What's your favorite thing about the last 4 years that Kamala Harris has been vice president?
She wasn't the president. If she was the president, then I could comment on that. But she wasn't the president.
She was vice president, though.
Vice president.
Kamala, of course. That's a no-brainer.
All right.
She's a woman. She's a woman.
Yes. How's it been selling? Good?
I don't know. We just had a bunch of police that told us to burn our shirts.
Pretty darn funny. Pretty darn funny indeed. Now again, trying to come up with anything that actually works for why people support her. And then again, the ones that are like, because she's a woman, there's a whole bunch of women that are going to vote for her, and men that are soy boys will vote for her solely because she's a woman. They just want to be a part of that first woman ever being president. They don't give a shit about the fact that this first woman president will literally drive this country into the ditch. Not because she's a woman, because she's socialist communist. That's why. Has nothing to do with her color or her sex. Has everything to do with the content of her character. And the content of her character sucks balls. With a Z, just so it's not gross. Sucks balls, baby. Dragon Ball Z, for those of you that are a little younger in my audience, it's about as close as I'm probably ever going to get to, meshing our generations, because I'm pretty stupid when it comes to a lot of the stuff. Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Hey, this stuff is awesome for your animals, and I don't want to waste a whole lot of time. I got another ad I got to do coming up anyways for our new merch. And we got some new merch even coming. She's having issues with the pictures. We'll get there, though. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Pet Club 247, though. They're awesome. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. What's going on here is a powerful set of ingredients. First off, they don't use any gross ingredients like that or chemicals and all that weird stuff, which most of your food does. If you have a pet, you have a dog, cat, or a horse, this is really the 3 major pets. They also have a person tab, by the way. I use the products myself. I use them myself. Just saying, incredible. Let's not start there. Let's start with the animals. We love the animals. They don't live long enough. We want them to live longer. This is what the research has demonstrated. This mushroom, Coriolis versicolor, has insane properties when it comes to immune systems, when it comes to anti-cancer even, oddly. But there's been animals that have had bladder infections, tooth problems, issues with their coats, everything, just immune issues. We put a lot of chemicals in our animals. They get vaccines on top of that. Some of us even use the fleas stuff, which is an interesting chemical, and it actually goes all over their bodies and basically gets inside them, so those fleas don't want to get on them. I admit I used it for my dog. I don't think that's healthy, but man, fleas are the worst, especially when you live in places like Tennessee was where we were, and it was, my God, she went outside at all, she'd come back in with 1,000 fleas. It was like the worst. It was the worst. But this helps deal with a lot of the stuff that we put our animals through, and certainly some of the stuff that's happening environmentally around them. Huge benefits that come with this Coriolis versicolor. So there's all sorts of research. There's a bunch of it. I don't want to get too lost in the weeds here like I already have. All sorts of reviews that are under construction right now. Well, that's fantastic. So there's going to be more of them, which I like a lot because, frankly, I think the reviews are the best sellers. It's people literally saying, this is what happened to my doggy. Almost all of them say the same thing when it comes to dogs. When I started giving my dog mush puppies, it's a treat. It's basically a little dog biscuit. One time a day, you give him a biscuit. You know it's healthy and high quality, right? It's $16 or $17 to $22. Not expensive. I think it depends on the size of your dog and how much is in the package or whatever. So you got a couple buying options when you go there. It has the mushroom in it, the Coriolis versicolor. This is a way to immediately start getting it into your animal in a way that they're going to enjoy like it's a treat. And it is. It's delicious, by the way. I've got the gummies. They taste fantastic. The gummies taste great. You don't taste the mushroom at all. In fact, I've got the cookies. I still haven't eaten them because I've talked about this a while, but I just don't eat cookies that often. It's really weird. I got to eventually just bust open the bag, like get the munchies, and then I'll maybe just mow down that bag and be like, oh, these are delicious, because I won't even know. Mojo's, they've got this for the cats too, by the way. This is just liver that's got that Coriolis versicolor in it, right? So on the outside or whatever. So they eat it and they're like, oh, it's delicious. And they get the goods inside of them. But all the research, there's so many people just giving the mush puppies or just giving the Mojos. How big a difference that made in their animal within weeks. And I'm talking 2, 3, 4 weeks. Significant changes. I'm telling you, it's a powerful product. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. They've got stuff for dogs, cats, horses. They've got mush ponies for horses. It's pretty cool, right? And they've got major buying options. If you're a horse person, obviously you understand why. You might have multiple horses, so I guess you can buy this thing by the pallet, damn near. I don't think $1,800 is a pallet, but whatever. You can buy the crap out of it. Also, some amazing stuff with humans. They got coffee that actually has all the toxins removed. You know, funny thing you didn't know probably. You know when you drink coffee and you have to pee almost immediately? Do you know what that actually is a result of? It's not the coffee and the fact that it's a diuretic, which is what we all tell ourselves and what I actually thought for the 15 years I worked in coffee. No, there's a toxin in coffee. And that toxin in coffee is so toxic, it's small amounts, but it's so toxic, your body's like, get it the F out now. And it immediately starts to try to pee it out. Even before it's even made it to your bladder, it's like goes into ultra pee mode. So it's not that it's a diuretic per se, it's that it makes you pee because you've got something in you that needs to get out. It's kind of an interesting thing. If you drink some coffee and then pound a bunch of water, it might actually be an interesting flush. But all said, this coffee doesn't have that toxin in it. It's just delicious coffee, and it's got the mushrooms in it. You wouldn't even know when you're drinking it. So it's also an option. A lot of great things. Again, I've spent way more time than I wanted to. It's an amazing product. I could talk 10 minutes. I want to get the owners on to talk about it more. It's just a really awesome product, and what it's done, how it's helped me. I just feel like it's helped me sleep better. It just helped, just overall. I don't know. I notice my dreams a little bit more. It's like kind of crazy. I just feel like it's making a difference. I don't know. And it also, I smoked for a lot of years, so I just feel like it's like a good thing to have in my body to help. You know what I mean? danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com, of course. And what do we got? Okay, Kamala headquarters going off on Trump. Told us to ingest bleach, right? You remember that whole thing. So they're talking about this whole thing about how Trump said you can inject bleach. And they keep saying that over and over, right? Well, COPH research team finds chlorine dioxide gas 99.91% effective against COVID-19 virus. So there's that. And if there's a way to maybe get it inside of you, that's kind of what he was talking about. But they also use it to disinfect surfaces, right? So we don't know. You're breathing it in when that's happening. They also have potable water tablets with chlorine dioxide at the stores. Why is this product also in mouthwashes? Maybe not always a toxic death bleach. Maybe there's something to this chlorine dioxide. So again, they going after Trump for things that aren't really technically correct. Another example, it couldn't be more rich. The DNC is now claiming that Trump wants to weaponize the FBI and justice system with Project 2025 after Obama and the Democrats weaponized the FBI and justice system to raid and arrest Donald Trump while he was nearly just assassinated by a lone gunman, JFK style. And the FBI has not been helpful at all. And the Secret Service sounds like they were possibly in it from the higher-ups. And they're worried about Trump using the government to attack individuals after they've done it. President Joe Biden repeats the debunked very fine people hoax, saying he launched his campaign based on the hoax. And the DNC convention goes wild. But that's not what he said. Fact check from Snopes. No, Trump did not call neo-Nazis and white supremacists very fine people. When you do the quote, he didn't say that. But everybody on the left keeps chopping it the way they want to, and then they're like, yeah, he did say it. And it's like, no, he didn't. You guys are insane. ABC presidential debate moderator links Trump to KKK in the DNC interview. It's insane. So she goes, as you know, former President Donald Trump is expected to go to campaign in Howell, Michigan tomorrow. Many people are aware that a fucking month ago, in Howell, KKK protesters marched in the streets with white robes on and suggested that they support Donald Trump. Let me say that again. A fucking month ago, KKK protesters were in the same fucking city that he's about to go to, and they had white robes on and suggested that they liked Trump. So now Trump's a racist. Tim Walz, Vice President Kamala Harris running mate, the fight over the in vitro infertilization procedures is another good one. They keep saying that this is all about saving in vitro fertilization. Republicans overwhelmingly have come out in support of in vitro. Trump, verbally, a bunch. Vance, verbally, a bunch. A whole bunch. McConnell, a whole bunch of people have come out pro-IVF. And they're, again, claiming things that are just absolutely not true. It's so strange to me how much they can lie, and it's okay. So what I didn't understand, this was kind of funny, and Donald Trump Jr. truthed this out, or tweeted, posted, whatever the fuck. So let me get this straight. Tim Walz has lied about going to war, lied about his military rank, lied about not knowing his unit was deploying to Iraq, and lied about his DUI arrest, and now, and this is the other thing he was caught lying about, this is the last slide, I didn't play him saying it, but he was talking about him and his wife using IVF, that they used their IVF to have 2 kids. Come to find out, that's not true. They never used IVF. Ever. Libs of TikTok posted, unbelievable, another lie from Lying Waltz. Tim Waltz claimed multiple times that his children were conceived thanks to IVF treatment. CNN reporting today that Gwen Waltz never underwent IVF treatment. Never. But we're the liars. Now again, we're weird too. Don't forget that one. Yeah. No. Don't forget that. I hope you were sitting down when I said that. Sorry. I know I shouldn't just throw stuff like that out just without warning. Kamala busts in fake restaurant diners. So literally Trump, when he goes into places, he just comes in, right? Secret Service are like, oh shit. And they go in and they like shoot people and stuff, and then they feeds whoever's still standing, right? But that's what Trump does. He feeds everybody. I'm kind of joking about the killing people. But he feeds everybody. Kamala Harris literally bust up to a diner, made everyone leave at 4 o'clock, and then from 4 o'clock on, it was just their bus people. She wouldn't let any random outside people in. Just think about that for a second, or minutes. DNC speakers mentioned Trump 130 more times than crime, inflation, and border combined. 130 times they say Trump's name, which, by the way, it means you got him against the ropes because they're talking about Trump. If they're talking about Trump, Trump's not going away. If they're talking about Trump, it's putting a spotlight on Trump. If they're talking about Trump, it's showing more people Trump and making more people want to all right, what is this guy saying? I'm curious, what stupid shit he actually says. Because people keep telling me stuff, but I want to actually see him say it. And then they watch him a couple times and they're like, he actually makes sense though. What, huh? What's so wrong with this dude? That's the problem. You figure it out pretty quickly too. Damn it. Let's see. Telegraph. What do we got? Oh, RFK Jr. I don't want to play it, but his VP choice, Nicole Shanahan, basically says, well, in a nutshell, says, look, here's the thing. We can either keep running, and she says we're going to pull votes away from Trump. I actually think that's a bunch of horse shit, Nicole, just so you know. I think that's crap. You're not really going to pull people. You pull people away that might vote for Trump. Okay, I'll give you that. Because there's some independent people that really don't want to vote for Trump. And if you offered them anything other than Biden, I guess, maybe they would go for it. RFK Jr. might represent that. I think it'll do far more damage to the Democrat Party, frankly. And I think it would be wonderful in that regard. Meaning, if RFK Jr. continues to run and pulls a bunch of votes, like normal center-left people, from the Democrat Party, then it will destroy their chances of putting anybody in office that they choose. And Trump's going to still hugely win, so it's not going to be a problem. But she said the other option is that if Trump basically comes out and says, hey, look, we want you involved in our cabinet or whatever, our administration. And she says that would actually go a long ways towards pulling all those people to Trump. And that's an interesting thought. So I don't know. She had a good point there. We'll see. U.S. intelligence officials confirm Iran hacked Trump campaign. Again, U.S. intelligence. The FBI tells us this. So again, we've got to believe that Iran attacked. Trump said foreigners, so whatever. Could have been Iran. I think it was deep state. I 100% think it was deep state, for sure. Guaranteed. Promise you it was deep state. They're blaming Iran because they want us to support shooting missiles at Iran as soon as they attack Israel. That's what they want. That's what this is meant to do. I don't think it has anything close to the power. It didn't do what they wanted it to do. They tried to use Iran to attack Trump as a means to get us fired up and agree with Israel going to escalation. No, sorry guys, not going to work. We're not buying your stupidness. Donald Trump truth. The Democrats accidentally put forward the Biden platform. His name is mentioned 21 times, and yet they threw him out of office. It was a vicious coup. Such a foolish thing to miss. But the fake news media refuses to cover it. If I had made such a mistake, it would be the biggest story in America. And Donald Trump also said, Comrade Kamala Harris has just informed us that she will not do the Fox News debate on September 4th, which would have been before the hearing, by the way, for him going into jail. She doesn't want to do it before that because they know on the 17th, probably, Trump is going to be put in jail. I don't think that date's going to happen. I think it's going to get stuck sliding. We'll see. But that's the deep state's plan right now. I don't think their plan's going to work. I think we all know what they're trying to do. So a lot of counter moves have been done. All said, Kamala's not going to be a part of that debate because I'm not surprised by this development because I feel that she knows it is very difficult at best for her to defend her record-setting flip-flopping on absolutely everything she once believed in, including her statement that there will be no fracking in Pennsylvania and her horrible performance on the border. Our border czar, where millions of criminals and people from mental institutions and terrorists have been allowed to pour into our country, totally unchecked and unvetted. It's called, and she loves it, an open border. Rather than the debate on September 4th, I have agreed to do a tele-town hall anchored by Sean Hannity for Fox. It will take place in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Details to follow. Yeah, I wonder if she just disappears from the screen. President Donald Trump on Monday said he would offer Tesla and SpaceX CEO owner Musk a cabinet position or an advisory role in his administration if he wins a second term. So this is public. It's been officially acknowledged by both people. They actually talked about it on the interview, so not really news per se. Elon Musk, I am willing to serve, so hey, cool. Everybody feels super special. And I'm just jealous. That's all it is. But I'm not a billionaire, and I'm not even close to what these guys. Right? I'm just a teacher of teachers. You guys make me huge. They just don't see that. Biden Justice Department backs Donald Trump in D.C. protest suit. Kind of funny on this one is because technically Trump was doing his presidential duties in the Supreme Court thing that happened. Well, this trial where D.C. is trying to sue Trump for all of this. Basically, now the Justice Department has to go and defend this case, and it's not Trump personally, but the federal government that's now being sued by Washington, D.C. So I'm sure D.C. will drop the case, is what's likely going to happen. Otherwise, it just seems stupid that the current Justice Department's going to have to defend, not Trump, but defend against this lawsuit. It doesn't matter. If they lose, if the Justice Department loses, doesn't matter to Trump because Trump was doing his job. So it just doesn't matter. Then the government's going to have to pay some fine or whatever the hell it is. So very, very funny how that actually played out. Crooks apparently, what is this? What was the deal on this one? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's long. Nothing really new has come out around this Crooks guy. And what's sort of annoying is, I mean, we've got a couple guys and politicians right now that are calling out all the nonsense, calling out the fact that the dude was cremated, 10 days after, which is insane. Calling out all the shenanigans that continue to happen. The fact that there's no real information coming forward. The fact that so many weird oddities happened the day of. So many failures on multiple levels. All of these things. And still no real solid, no one fired, no one really established what happened. It's still, and it's, a month and a half now? January 13th, right? So a month and 7 days. Month and 7 days. And this is where we are. Insanity. So Ron Johnson's calling it out. I don't know. Jim Jordan and them Comer calls it out. They're calling it out, but this government's not doing anything. I mean, they're obviously behind it, but it's so strange. And there's zero power to do anything about it. This is where the military is going to have to at some point, but we need to get, one, people in the right positions. Two, I think the public still needs to be brought higher energy in this area. And I think the DNC has to still happen. Some stuff just has to play out. Apparently, Massachusetts is being insane. They're now going to allow babies to be non-binary at birth. That's, again, just think of the parents that are going to flock there that are part of the deep state. So there's probably a huge number per capita of deep state people living in Massachusetts. Probably why it's such a corrupt place. So just keep that in mind, people out there from Boston, right? A lot of the people that live with you are not wicked pissa. They are whatever the opposite of that would be, and I don't even know what crazy word you would have for the opposite of wicked pissa, but they are not that, that's for sure. You guys got some shit people, and they're all a bunch are going to move there, too, because this will be one of the only places where they can actually, at birth, declare their child to be non-binary, and then actually give them drugs early on in their lives. Pink is the best example I have. For all you people out there that have followed any of the boy-girl stuff and who's what and everything, Pink is a great example of someone that I think they put on the changing meds very, very early on. Very, very early on. And, I think that explains why Pink is the way Pink is. Even some of her music talks about it. She's had a tough life. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has been given until September 30th to respond to an appeal filed by Mark Meadows, former White House Chief of Staff, to the U.S. Supreme Court. Meadows is seeking to move his election interference case to federal court. We'll see if she ever does that. Rupert Murdoch, 93-year-old, who's locked in a legal battle with his 3 children that thought they were going to get the enterprise, and they are very kind of liberal, versus the one child that is very not liberal, in fact, conservative. Lackland's his name. Rupert Murdoch has decided to give the entire trust's control over to Lackland. Well, the other 3 children, Prudence, James, and Elizabeth, they're suing him. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. I don't know why they should have a right to it when it's ultimately Rupert Murdoch's, and he controls the trust, and he is the sole provider to the trust. It would be very interesting to see how that one plays out. I get why they're suing him, don't get me wrong. And I think it's the deep state, yet once again, Rupert Murdoch didn't get to where he was without being deep state. But I think he's trying to get out of that, and I think, what's his kid's name? I want to call him Lynchpin. I don't know, whatever the hell his name is. Lycan. I don't know what his name is. But yeah, the good one. I think he wants to kind of get out of the deep state and be part of this new world order, be part of this I don't know what it is. I don't know what to call it because they ruined a good phrase, but this change, this world without evil, or at least this world that's greatly reduced of evil, and they're not in charge and in power any longer. This is going to be a very fantastic time in our history. U.S. pharmaceutical companies ran drug trials with Chinese military for more than a decade. Literally with the Chinese military. We've been doing this. They've been doing stuff forever, guys. Russia says it captured a key hub, the equivalent they're calling it, like of New York in East Ukraine. I don't know. The article's written in a funny way, but it's a very legit city that has a lot of connections and ties to all sorts of different places, probably rail yards and all sorts. Like it's just like they scored. Like it's like the New York City of the East Coast, if you will, and they now control that supposedly. So we'll see what's going on. I don't know. Every day things change. Belarusian president claims Ukraine is pushing Russia to strike with nuclear weapons. He said such escalations on the part of Ukraine is an attempt to push Russia to asymmetric actions. Let's say to use nuclear weapons, he said in an interview with a local outlet, Rossiya. According to the translation, I know for sure that Ukraine would be very happy if Russia or we used tactical nuclear weapons there. They would applaud it. And it's because they want the West to come in. This is what the deep state's trying to do, is get Russia, Putin, to make a mistake, Belarus to make a mistake, Hungary to make a mistake, Italy to make a mistake, right? All these countries, Turkey even, I think, to make a mistake, Iran even to make a mistake. Israel is not given carte blanche. All of these people are being kept in bounds. That's definitely one of the things where only the military was ever the answer, is that for sure. And then, yes, what's likely going to happen when we have to kick down the doors and get them out of office, which they said they were going to have to do it to Trump, and it's probably what we're going to end up having to do to them, which is going to be kind of funny. Just that'll be our big moment of I told you so. Oh, here it is. We got some new stuff, folks. Truththread.shop. Truth Thread. Get your Truth Thread. .shop. Truththread.shop. Just kind of rings off the mouth, doesn't it? Got some new stuff, by the way. She's redoing she's adding a new product, new kind of truther kind of thing. It has to do with the shooting. But the photos, I guess she had a hard time with, and so anyway, she's going to have to redo the photo shoot. It sucks, too, because we rented out the suite and the Ritz-Carlton to do these photo shoots. I'm totally kidding you. We didn't do any shit like that. It was all total, like borrowing bums off the street to hold the camera for a moment, basically. Like that kind of stuff. It's awesome. We're shoestring budgets. Fantastic. But again, we've got all the 5G stuff. We definitely need a little help moving some of that if you guys want to help out a little bit. We could use the ability to share this message with more people, and we'd love to have you be a part of that. But we also have some more merch for me now. Yay! I'm super happy. Super happy. Took the mug down. I don't think those were selling very well, I'm guessing. But what our view? Oh, there's more. Oh, there's more. It's not sold. Oh my God, I didn't even click that before. So we got sweatshirts now with the Ready for the Great Awakening and Army of Enlightenment. It looks rad. I love it. Not just the baseball shirts. Also, it's got the hat. Got a new hat for myself. Now, I just want to explain the logo. A lot of people may not get it, but, DRS, Dan Radio Style, that's who I am, right? So the microphone is the D, the stand with the microphone is the R, and the cord makes the S, DRS. I thought it was cool. I made it up. It's 100%. I drew this on a thing and then found somebody finally that actually it was Ron Partain that helped me find a guy that was able to turn that into a graph, and that's what this came from. And then I got that to her, and she was able to get it on a hat now. So now we can offer hats. It's freaking awesome. We've also got long sleeve shirts. We've got the tank tops. We've got booby tops, as I call them. We've also got a couple different versions of the t-shirts, I think. Look at all this. Oh, no, you do have them up. Sweet. She does have them up. And there you go. There's our the shooter picture. It's got the Ephesians thing on there, and it's shots fired. Pretty cool shirts. Is it back? Is there nothing on the back? We got the OTF flag on the side, which is cool. I thought there was something on the back too, but it doesn't look like we have back photos yet at this moment anyways. I think we're going to be doing some more updates. But again, some new awesome cool merch. Oh, there's the tumblers. We're throwing those on sale right now even too. A lot of great products. Go to truththread.shop, truththread.shop, and we're going to continue to add stuff. All right, I'm going to try to blast through these last couple stories. We got federal judges rejected Hunter Biden's latest attempts to dismiss this tax-related charges against him. In fact, the judge got a little upset with him on it. In fact, there was some discussion That after the court ordered Mr. Biden's counsel to show cause why sanctions should not be imposed for making false statements in the motion, Mr. Biden filed an amended motion purporting to rectify the identified misstatements. The court expressed concern about counsel's lack of candor to the court. Hunter's counsel claimed their representation was perhaps inartful. The court doubts the veracity of this explanation. The court discharges the order to show cause, but counsel's conduct warrants an admonition. Candor is paramount. Also, the court declines to reach the merits of the motion because there is no valid basis for reconsideration of the court's order denying Mr. Biden's motion to dismiss the indictment for appropriations and appointments clause violations. This had to do with they didn't think her or whoever the hell the dude is that's doing this one, that he wasn't properly put into place like the dude that's going after Trump. Drawing a blank on everybody's names right now. Whatever the case is. You guys probably know better than I do. Names suck. Americans are going to see how corrupt the Biden family is. Why did I want to play this? Oh, this is 4 minutes now. Yeah, they're just going to find out how corrupt the family is. We can close out maybe with that. I'll play it fast speed, I guess. It's Comer.
And the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Kentucky Congressman James Comer. Congressman, thank you so much for being here. Walk us through this report and your findings. And the other question is, why now?
Well, let's start with the report. As you know, we announced an investigation shortly after the House flipped from Republican to Democrat. We set out to receive the bank violations. We knew that the Bidens had many bank violations. What we found were 6 major banks filed 170 violations called suspicious activity reports. This is where the bank notifies the federal government that they believe their client has committed a financial crime. From those violations, we found dozens of LLCs that after extensive research, we concluded didn't have any purpose other than they were shell companies. We found that they laundered $27 million from our adversaries around the world through these shell companies to 10 different Biden families. Most of the money transferred while Joe Biden was vice president. President Biden lied about having any knowledge of this. He lied about meeting with these people. According to the IRS whistleblowers, they never paid a penny of taxes on this. And I think what you're going to see in the future, even with David Weiss, the special prosecutor, and hopefully in a Trump Department of Justice, you're going to see charges leveled against Biden family members for violations of the Foreign Agents Registration Act, tax evasion, and many other financial crimes, including possibly money laundering.
Yeah, and I know that several witnesses have testified that Hunter Biden used his father's brand in business dealings to receive millions of dollars, as you outlined. Here's Donald Trump's reaction to your report yesterday.
There's no way someone could have stolen that much money without Democrat senators knowing what was going on. He wined and dined them at Joe's houses. They saw his boats. They saw the way he lived. They saw his beautiful mansions. I would have made billions of dollars in this job if I wanted to play that game the way they played it, but instead I took the job very seriously and very importantly.
So how much does this change Biden's legacy, in your opinion? And do Americans pay attention to what he's done? I know Speaker Johnson put out a statement encouraging all Americans to read this report.
I hope they read the report. There are footnotes all throughout this report. We have the receipts. We have bank records. Bank records don't lie. We have emails. We have sworn deposition testimony from the people that were involved in laundering this money. This was a scheme to take money from bad people in bad countries to try to help them get out of trouble. We saw the instance with Burisma where Joe Biden just happened to call and get that prosecutor off the back of the shady oligarch who was paying his son millions of dollars. There was an attempt to do that in Romania, attempt to do that in Russia and Kazakhstan. Look, this family has been selling access to Joe Biden for over a decade. Now, I don't think any American should be okay with the leader of our country's family peddling access to him in turn for massive profits to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. We also found that there were over $8 million in loans to the president's son and brother that have never been paid back, never even paid interest on them. So at what point does a loan become a gift? I mean, when you add the loans, you're talking about $35 million. I mean, that's a significant amount of money for a shady family. So Joe Biden's legacy should be he's the most corrupt president in the history of our nation.
So this released here as the DNC. They had night one in Chicago. What happens next now, Congressman? Where do you hope to take this?
I think now you're going to see a lot of these government agencies that have been obstructing our investigation start releasing information that we've been requested. We saw the State Department do that last week. They said, oh, yeah, we have an email here that shows when Hunter Biden was on the board of Burisma during the Obama-Biden administration, he was trying to get help in a European country for his client. You're going to see the National Archives start turning over information. This investigation will be like the Hunter Biden laptop story. In time, the truth will come out, and the American people will see just how corrupt the Biden family was and how corrupt our federal government was with all these deep state agencies trying to cover and protect them.
This is all going to come out. And then when you think about the fact that it leads directly back to Obama as well, this was all happening. He was your vice president while this was all happening. What crazy stuff were they doing? So again, a lot of information is coming forward. This is very powerful. Rep. George Santos pleaded guilty to corruption charges in a sprawling federal fraud case Monday, just 3 weeks before it was set to face trial. He basically came up with a plea deal. 2 counts. Committing wire fraud and aggravated identity theft, allowing him to avoid trial on nearly 24 charges for which he faced 20 years in prison. So he chose a sweeter deal, but this dude supposedly did a lot of things wrong. He's taking the easy road. Diddy sex trafficking accuser Adria English files police report against Starr after launching $50 billion civil suit. Ouch. It might be Audria. Who knows? I don't know. It's a name. I'm sure I'm getting it wrong. TikTok urged a federal appeals court on Thursday to overturn a law requiring its China-based parent company, ByteDance, to sell its U.S. assets or face a ban. The social media app claimed that the U.S. Department of Justice has misstated its ties to China, leading to an erroneous conclusion about national security risks. That's such a communist Chinese party thing that they're saying right there. That is exactly that's exactly what the Chinese Communist Party does. They take something that you have facts of, and they're like, well, those facts don't mean what you claim they mean. They're like, well, they're facts. They prove that. And they're like, not in this case. They don't prove that. In fact, they prove the opposite. And you're like, how? And they're like, they just do. Like, you're just expected to accept the unacceptable. It's awesome. Fantastic. National Public Data admits hackers stole Social Security numbers in massive breach, reportedly affecting nearly all Americans. The thing that bugged me most about this, so this is Jurisco Pictures, Inc., the Coral Springs, Florida-based entity that does business as National Public Data. They released a statement about all of this. They are, where does it say it in here? I want to use the right words, but they are people that try to help companies be cyber secure. Like, they try to help companies, where does it say that in here? It was beautiful. Class action internet users, social security number stolen, hacked by cyber criminals. We just have to read it now. Let's see. Data user. There was an attempt to hack, potential leak of certain MPD, which conducts criminal background checks for employers and investigators for some of the lowest fees in the industry. Did not specify how many people were involved. They undertook additional security measures to fix it. Yeah, these guys helped people. Oh, this is crazy. Yeah, and they're the ones that got hacked. Needless to say, it just shows how horrible their group was at doing what they're supposed to do. We're in weird times right now, folks, so I just want to remind everybody just to be as best prepared as you can be. Like, whatever that means. Have a little bit of cash at the house if you can, or coins or whatever. Have water, have some food if you can. It's just a good idea, even if it's canned food, whatever you can afford. But just make sure you've got some supplies, best you can do. And be as prepared as you can, like from the Second Amendment standpoint. If you've got unique tool knowledge, make sure you've still got those tools just in case. We never know what we're going to need down the road. We got to be prepared for the worst and then hope for the best. And I think we've done well. We'll see if we can continue to do that. But a lot of it just depends on the big picture and all of you guys, God's plan, whole 9 yards. I'm just like you guys. I'm along for the ride, having a good time, doing the best I can to. On the left side of the plane, we've got having a good time, man. I hope we'll get through it together. One way or the other, folks, we will get through this together. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.